All right, part 9 on our healthy eating series. The dangers of processed food. It does not come to a surprise to anybody that processed foods are dangerous. What does come as a surprise, however, is that they're still allowed on shelves. Despite the havoc they wreak on our bodies and minds, eating unhealthy food isn't just a personal choice to some people. Sometimes because of the way economy works, people in poverty are forced to turn to processed foods because they are cheap and they're easy to feed large families on a low budget. The hard thing about this is that these foods ultimately cause medical problems down the line that cost even more money than it would take to feed a large family healthy, sustainable options. Ultimately, it seems that people with little money are suffering either way, and that's just unfair. Even if you don't have to feed a family on a budget, processed foods are simply unhealthy. Part of what makes them so addicting is their high-fat, high-sugar content. They are often boxed meals that include pastas and an exceptional amount of sugar. Excessive sugar is dangerous in general, but especially to people who are prone to developing type 2 diabetes. If you consume sugar in high amounts, you are ultimately going to overload your body, and not only will you become obese, more than likely, but you also develop other health issues. Sugar can help speed along the process of diabetes because of the fact that it causes insulin resistance to occur, when ultimately makes it difficult. It's not impossible to control your blood sugar levels. If you eat foods like this excessively, such as for every meal or at least every day, there's bound to be negative consequences. Consuming that high amount of fat and sugar on a constant basis can lead not only to diabetes and obesity, which are commonly known, but also heart disease and even cancer. This is exceptionally dangerous, and if possible, processed food should be avoided at all costs. Another danger of eating processed food is that not only are they addicting, but they are highly artificial. Most of the ingredients in these foods are not nourishing for the body. Rather, they are leading us to feel full while depriving our bodies of the essential nutrients that require healthy functioning. When we are eating a diet that is bland and not nourishing, we are ultimately allowing ourselves to be, dumbed down in a way. We are not thinking properly. We are not moving properly. We are not functioning at the highest possible potential. All these things are highly damaging, can lead to poor coordination and even depression. On some level, we know that processed foods are, not as healthy as types of foods that we should be consuming on a regular basis. So why do we continue to do it? Our bodies know it even. Even if our minds are not aware, we suffer it. We stress about, we indulge in unhealthy foods. Whether we are addicted to them or not, our bodies know it. And whether it's subconscious occurrence or not, we often punish ourselves. We know what we're doing and we know that something is wrong. We feel upset about it, dissatisfied, even if we're processing it in the moment, right? Even if we know there's something wrong. And processed foods are also high in artificial colorings that have been proven to be highly carcinogenic. When we eat foods that have fixed coloring in it, we are essentially swallowing dye. Would you want to eat hair dye? Not really. But these types of chemicals are used in your food. They stay in your body and do not come out. They dye, on your organs, on the inside. They are highly dangerous and can lead to cancer. They are also full of preservatives. Processed foods stay on the shelf for a very long time, longer than healthy and normal. Any typical bottle of milk would not last for months on end. It would curl and spoil. The same with cheeses. The same with other foods that you find on shelves that have long shelf lives. Shelf lives are important for companies to establish because they are able to make more money if their food is able to stay on the shelf longer. They will do whatever it takes, whether it be healthy or not, to the human body to ensure they are making as much money as possible. Preservatives often include unhealthy and unnatural chemicals and excessive amounts of salt, neither of which are good for the body at all. Processed foods can lead to issues with the heart, hypertension. Because of this excessive amount of salt present in the foods, high blood pressure is common occurrence among people who survive off of processed foods, and obesity and heart attack are also number one killer in North America. This has absolutely everything to do with the standard American diet. The sad part about this is that even if you know it's unhealthy, the chemicals, the high sugar, the fat content make these processed foods extremely addicting. The body begins to crave them. It can almost be as dangerous as a drug addiction. There's actually an image of a cocaine user and someone who eats sugar, and the sugar is even more heightened in the brain. And so when you're addicted to foods that are neither nourishing nor healthy, it can have long-term consequences on your health and development. Another way processed food contributes to obesity is because we digest them too quickly compared to foods that are rich in healthy dietary fiber. For digesting these foods too quickly and they are not filling us up because we are receiving, we're not receiving the fiber that provides the full filling, we are not even burning the same amount of energy as we would to digest healthy foods. This means that we eat more and digest less, leading to fast and rapid weight gain. And even more so, this means that people who live and substitute on a diet of processed foods are ultimately going to gain weight whether they want to or not. They will, and they will not provide you with the same amount of energy because they are not nourishing. They will leave you tired, sluggish, and feeling far too full because you eat a lot more unhealthy, sugar-filled foods without feeling content and sated. Processed foods are not metabolized properly in our bodies. They are turned quickly to fat. Not only that, they are high in fat. They are often full of hidden fat and sugars. Vegetable oil is one of the primary ingredients in many of these processed meals, along with things such as high fructose corn syrup, which is a huge culprit in weight gain. If every processed food on the shelves contained fructose corn syrup, and most of them do, it's no wonder that North America is facing a weight obesity epidemic in the world today. Hydrogen oils are highly unhealthy because they do not break down. They remain in your body and become merged with the fat cells. These oils make fat far more difficult to burn off. They are the harder to get rid of. And that type of stubborn fat can lead to obesity very quickly. The ingredients in processed foods lack most of all the nutrition that we value as humans and we need to function at our highest potential. We need fibers, vitamins, minerals that are present in real food that we can truly thrive in life. If you find that processed foods can't be entirely avoided, you should at least be eating in very much moderation. They are dangerous. They make us feel sluggish, irritable, and unhappy overall. Our dispositions can go from positive to negative when we go from a healthy diet to ultimately find ourselves consuming with nothing but processed foods that are too sugary, too fatty, and too unhealthy. Our bodies crave nutrition. The easiest and most beneficial thing you can do for your body is to provide it with nutrition. It can be hard to get used to changing your routines and substituting off processed foods, and it can be very frustrating times. We have to spend a lot more time in the kitchen cooking and taking our health and meals into consideration. But ultimately, eating processed foods is something that can kill you and cut you off from yourself. You actually are consuming toxins, avoiding foods that can act as antioxidants and will provide you with the chance to get rid of the waste that you're putting into your body. Processed foods are the same as junk foods. They are no different. They're healthier seeming junk food. They're snacks in disguise. In order to become healthy and to feel healthy, avoid processed foods at all costs is the first and most effective step you can take. Get your home rid of it. Eliminate it. Don't have it on hand. Don't let yourself be fooled by the packaging that claims these foods are healthy. They are saturated in fat and sugar and lacking in anything that gives your body nourishment. Do everything you can. Change your habit of relying on processed food. Eat healthy as possible. If you set your mind to it, just remember the strategy of walking around the grocery store on the perimeter to pick up the fresh produce and meat, as opposed to walking through the aisles that are full of dangerous and alluring packages, hiding in the dangers of the processed food within. All right, we're moving on to part 10 next, and I'm going to bring it all together now with meal planning on part 10. And so, remember, you are what you eat, so avoid eating cheap, easy, and fake, right? You don't want to be any of those things. Go and comment below. What questions is this bringing up for you? I love to answer your questions. What are your questions about having healthy diet, eating for health and energy and all those kind of things? Do you have a question about dealing with your emotions properly so you don't go emotionally eat and binge eat? Do you have a question about how you deal with them, your mindset, or about your movement or nutrition? Anything at all, please go ahead and write the question. I'll make a video about it. My name is Jen Pike, and if you haven't met before, I am your holistic empowerment coach. I take those people who feel stuck in life, a lot of binge eaters and emotional eaters who feel like they have given up on everything because they've tried everything out there. They've been there. So I have combined my 20 plus years as a nutritionist, group fitness instructor, personal trainer, life and transformation coach, and educator into one complete program that gives you sustainable, realistic, doable, practical things in your life through our micro habits. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow if you want a holistic approach to living the fit life. And let's move on to part 10.